Do you ever look around your house and just wonder, why am I okay with everything being boring? And I've had the same look in my house, in my room forever, and I just can't figure out what to do. You go online and you try to get advice from decorators or other people that seem to be more confident. And then you get even more confused. I mean,
Very overwhelmed.
it gets overwhelming to try to decorate when you don't feel like you're a decorator. And I have a lot of people in my life that just walk in my house or spaces that I help somebody and they go, why didn't I think of that? We've had so many good
Yes.
conversations like that where people are just stuck.
Right.
You know, they feel like, I've just got to copy someone's look. That doesn't really work. It's too cookie cutter. It's too boring. And you walk into a space that is already designed and it doesn't relate to your home at all. You can't tell if that couch is massive for your room, or you can't tell if those coffee tables are way too high or
Right.
too big because you're in a warehouse. And so what does somebody do? So we're here to help, aren't
Yes.
we?
Yes. It's just small tweaks too. That's the thing.
It is small
it's
tweaks.
it's getting over the mindset of we've got to have a major remodel project.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and just taking what you have.
Yeah.
You know, in your own space.
Yeah. I like to have someone kind of talk through if I've got a friend who is stuck and they really want advice, and I'm not a trained decorator. Are you a trained
No.
decorator? No, but we're just girls who have a lot of confidence. And we have learned through the years of trial and error that we can do a lot with just a little. I have friends with a lot of money, but they hire someone and they come in. Well, isn't that a luxury that some people just can't afford? So then they go to confident friends like you and me and they go, give me some advice. So what I like to do is do a little interview session. What would you like to do in your home? You have to reevaluate what your needs are. If you're a mother of small children, your needs are one thing, and you need toys.
And your space has to be safe.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different factors
Yeah.
based on where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
Are you entertaining a lot? Are you
Yeah.
having other families over? Are you
Yeah.
having older people over?
Yeah.
Are you having, just friends together and cook?
It's kind of like when your kids are little, they have a lot of toys, and then when they get bigger, their toys get smaller. So your space needs to be reevaluated. Well, I don't care if you're just home alone, you need to redo that too. Like recently, a lot of people started working from home, and all of a sudden, I need a workspace.
Yes.
So what is your life like now? What are your needs? So many times I go into someone's home and they have a dedicated dining room and they never use it. The majority of your walk space is through the center part of your home. So when you walk in, it's like a lobby of a hotel. You don't go to the bedroom as much as people traffic these main areas.
Right.
Well, so do you in your home. So
And do you even like your home when you walk in?
Yeah.
I mean, how does it make you feel when you walk inside?
yeah.
Are you sad when you get home? I mean, it
Yeah.
should be a haven of rest and
Yeah.
reflect you and everything that you love.
Yeah.
And so many people want that, but they don't know how to get there.
That's a good point. I have had several friends that just had a real funk in their life. They were really kind of depressed and sad. Sometimes it's just scooting things around.
It is. It truly is. And I think it's about space. So if it feels chaotic and you're already chaotic and you're already in this down, depressed state and there's stuff laying everywhere and you don't know what to do with it and there's not a good space for it, that's one of the things I think we both have in common.
Yeah.
Is we like to hide things, but it looks like it's not hiding.
Yeah.
You know, like it looks like it's on purpose, and we meant for it to be there, but it's like, oh, this would be really great to hide this part.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
there's a trick to feeling warm and hugged in your space. I get depressed if I'm in a space that only has overhead lighting. I need
some
some
mood lighting?
mood lighting. I want some lamps. I want some some softness. So you want to be able to have a pillow. And I've seen people say, well, I've got dogs. And I'm like, okay, so you still need a throw pillow. You still need some cute things. And just like, having a kid doesn't mean that you don't have a picked up house. Well, if you've got an animal who can have certain places.
And a cute little box. That's what we do
Yeah.
for my puppy. We have a cute little box, but it looks like it's part of my living space.
Yeah. Bottom line is we want to give you some very practical advice. And a lot of people think, well, I don't have a lot of money. Well, in the most empty space, we have proven that if we have $500 a room, we can absolutely transform some spaces. So
Like not even recognize
not
spaces.
even recognize
I
the
mean,
spaces.
pretty
Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah.
Still using things that we find
So
from
absolutely.
the home, because I think one of the key points too would be to find things that's yours. Like, what do you love?
Yeah.
What is yours that you don't know how to display?
Yeah.
Or you don't know where to put it, you
Yeah.
know, in the space, but it's something that would make you happy if you see it.
So I would love to just challenge you to get out a pen and paper. Is there a little side area off your kitchen that's not really a room because it doesn't have doors or, but it's still a space. And then write down your needs. Rethink that space. Would you have a library? Well, most houses don't have a library right now. You've got a little bit of money and you've got a little bit of direction. It doesn't even take a lot of money. I have done full remodels of a space with no dollars.
Yes.
Like you can spend no dollars.
Sometimes it's just moving your stuff around. Like we said, it's just in the wrong spot, or it's the wrong angle.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's in the wrong room. Maybe it's in the bedroom and it needs to be in the living space, or it needs to be the space where you first walk in.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe you go to your garage, or maybe you go to your mother's garage or your mother's attic, or sometimes I have picked up the coolest things on the side of the road.
Yes.
Where somebody else has just chunked it. So
If it looks interesting, we want it.
we want it. Yeah, we want it. So there are some rules of thumb that we like to use when we are redecorating. And we're not the high dollar decorator girls. We're your best friends. We're your girlfriends that come over and go, hey, I'll give it a stab and I will give you some really good advice, because I have a beautiful home. April has a beautiful home. But we've not always had money. And so we can do a lot with a little. It takes a little bit of crafting sometimes. It takes a little bit of,
You know, one of the questions I have a lot
What?
is, yeah, but that's great. You know what to go to a thrift store or a Goodwill or whatever and look for. And yes, we do. You and I have that in common.
Yeah.
Like we can literally just take two separate shopping carts and go on a binge and come back and get together, and we would have bought the same thing. I'm like, I saw that. I was going to pick that up. So, but it's just those iconic pieces, and it's looking for a theme.
yeah.
A lot of times, I know one time we went to this thrift store, and you were like, man, I'm looking for a chunky frame. And so the next time I see you, you have this chunky frame, and it's so awesome. And you're like, I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to do a project. I've got this in mind. And the more we looked at the picture, we
Like,
decided
I don't
to
hate
keep it.
the picture.
No, and
The
it
picture
become a whole
started-
focal point of
Yes.
this space.
I would have never picked the picture. I was drawn to the frame. But then we walked around and we're like, what in this picture could we pull out? So
It had the major color themes that
Yeah.
we were working with
Yeah.
already in the space. And then it was kind of a game.
Yeah.
It become a game place, I
Yeah.
guess, or a game spot.
So we will go and we will say, okay, our goal here is to find one inspiration piece, and then we're going to play off of it. So if we find a piece of art, and people get scale wrong, but the bigger the better, because a big piece of art in a little bitty room is going to actually make the room feel handsome, and the room feel more important. If you put little bitty art on the wall, you have to really put a lot together so that it becomes one big statement.
Yes.
But we usually go for the biggest pieces, and then I will try to keep an open mind and look on this big piece of art. Do I want to cover up the middle? I like that the frame is big. Do I want to paint the frame? Do I want to cover up the I have a example that we'll share of a big chunky frame. It was a beautiful picture that a girlfriend gave to me and said, "You'll know what to do with this." And the picture itself was just really dated, and it didn't go with anything that I was working on, any of the projects. So I literally took wrapping paper and I Mod Podged
Yes.
wrapping paper and covered up this oil painting, and it is one of my favorite things. So we'll show
It's so
that.
unique. It's so different. You're not going to find it at Rooms to Go.
Right,
You're not going
right.
to find it.
That is
Generic.
the key. So who are you when you go to work on your space? You might have more confidence in how you dress. So bring that into the confidence and put into your environment. So for instance, if I'm talking to somebody who really loves fashion, they love clothes, I will have them go pull out your favorite garment, and we might hang that on the wall. That may become a focal piece. We might hang a hook on the wall and have that garment be just on display. You put a light on it. We can really go off of I love accessories. So there have been times in my life where I've just taken some of the most beautiful necklaces and made a collage,
Yes.
and that becomes art. So what do you love? Who are you? And what are your favorite colors? Sometimes I will be talking to somebody and they're very simplistic with their color palette of what they wear. They're very tailored, but they do love these great colors, and I will advise them to go buy some throw pillows in the color that you would really love to wear, but you don't have the confidence to ever pull off. You're going to always revert back to a black blouse. So over the different projects that you and I have, I'm just going to look at some pictures and let's talk about them.
Sure.
This is an entryway that a lot of times people don't know what to do with an entryway, because there might be like a foot and a half, between the end of the door and the wall,
Right.
or 6 inches, and it doesn't seem like enough. But
Right.
you think about your foot traffic. When you walk in the door, you don't go and slide to the side of the wall and say, "Oh, I need my feet to go all the way to this edge." No,
There's a
chances
path.
are you have a pretty small path. So you can put a bench. I love to put in an entryway. I love to put a side table, like something that may be for behind a couch, and
Yes.
that is a good hallway table. A hutch, drawers, because you need to set down your keys, and I always put a chair, because if you came in your front door and you needed to take off your boots, or you needed to set a bag down, a bag of groceries, you need to have a chair and
spot.
a spot. Say, well, that entry is so high and I need to paint this wall. And, when you want, here's a philosophy of mine, okay? When you stand in a doorway, when you first enter a space, your eye needs to be told where to go. So if there's nothing there and everything is white, then your eyes are just floating around looking for something, and you will fall. Your eyes will fall to the floor. And so you get obsessed with, well, I need a rug. Well, that'll draw your attention more to the floor. well, I need to paint the walls. Not necessarily. You just need to tell somebody's eye where to go.
Right.
So hang a piece of art. And so tall spaces. Yeah, it's really hard to get it's expensive to get a painter that brings those ladders. And then what color do you choose? Before I go to paint, I will literally hang a carpet on the wall. I've got several examples here of carpets on the walls, but
Yes, and that's even better to me because you can put a picture over it or you can put several mirrors over it
Yeah.
and stash, and it's better than paint, I think.
Yeah.
It brings texture to it.
and it really is an
depth.
old world. It's an old world treatment. Back in the days when, in castles, they would put thick tapestries and thick and basically carpets on the walls because the breeze would be, rooms were so drafty and not insulated, and so those thick tapestries became insulation in a room. So now I will look, and you can get indoor outdoor rugs really cheap. You can
Very
get
modern, like very modern and blocked. I mean, because I guess when you're thinking tapestries, some people may be thinking flowers, or I mean, you can go with that if that's your style. But there's so many options, like
Yeah.
with rugs.
yeah.
I mean,
I've hung tablecloths, blankets. So like you could think a quilt or. But I came back from a trip one time and bought a beautiful sheer tablecloth that had a yellow satin rim around it. Hung it over the wall. Hung it up on the wall, and behind my headboard, and it was a freestanding headboard. So it was gorgeous, and people would you can do things that are like a wallpaper or like paint, but be done so much more quickly and more efficiently.
these are great options too for apartments.
Yeah.
To not have to repaint the walls
Yeah.
when you leave. or your
Transit
spaces.
spaces, like apartments and dorm rooms,
But still
and
making it feel homey and
Yeah.
like your space.
one of the things that you can do is go to a hotel lobby, go to some big hotel lobbies, and just walk around and see how they have decorated a big, expansive, open space. They will make clusters of entertainment pits or little conversation areas, and get some clues from that. I'm a big fan of lamps. So if think practically. So if I'm sitting in a chair, do I have a place to put a cup? Do I have something that anchors that chair? So you want little. I'm a big fan of a lot of little tables, but you want to keep your scale right. So height wise, if you've got some big tall tables next to a bed, or really low tables next to a bed, that's going to be off. Keep your chair height in mind, keep your bed height in mind.
Yes.
And borrow things from other rooms. Well, absolutely just rehash. And I'm scrolling through here. If we can reupholster, we can paint, and we can do lots of crafting. But usually when we are brought in to do a $500 room, we need things to be quick. We need to be able to pull, make choices fast. And so either on the front end, before you set yourself up for some success, and so you don't bog down in this, but get an idea of your color palette. Are you going to go black and white and then add a pop of color?
Right.
What I have loved with my personal house, my modern house, is everything is black and white, and then I also love mixing navy
Yes.
in with that.
And we did that in one of our spaces.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people are afraid of navy and black together sometimes, but it looks so classy. And that wall in particular, which I'm probably jumping, but
It's okay.
we we made it look like a hotel lobby. And
Yeah.
it was an apartment space.
Yeah.
And it looked like $1,000,000.
Yeah, what you're referring to is a situation where we needed to bring drama into an apartment living room, and here's a little trick. So what do you have a lot of? I happen to have a lot of blue fabric, some navy blue fabric, and I measured from the floor to the ceiling, and then doubled that, cut those lengths. So I had two long strips, and then we took a plastic hanger and ran the fabric through, like a pair of pants, and then we took 2 screws right up next to the ceiling, turned that hanger upside down so that I couldn't see it. It was behind the gathered fabric, and just hung it up there on the
it looked like fake
hooks.
windows.
It
created
drama.
Yeah, the drama that we needed for that whole wall. It was awesome.
And then right above the couch, we hung an indoor-outdoor black indoor-outdoor rug. We paid $29 for the rug, and I had the fabric. So here what do you have a lot of? One of the things I've done very successfully in a couple of different spaces I've decorated, I will take a dining room table, or like the eat-in kitchen, and I will flip it.
Yeah.
Maybe butt it up against the window, butted up against the wall. In one case, I put a church bench along the back side of the long table. Turned the table so you can scoot in on either side of this church bench. The table shot out into the room, and then the room became into the open area, like toward the kitchen. Then the walls became so much more roomy. Otherwise, you just have a hard time scooting around these walls of these built-in spaces, and you usually have furniture that's the wrong scale.
Right.
And
another one of my favorite things to do is mixing something older with something modern. And we did that in one of our spaces that we created too, where we took some planters that we found at, there were 3 different sizes of just garden planters.
Yes.
And we turned those upside down on an old piano, an upright piano.
Yeah.
Do you remember that
Yeah,
space?
it was beautiful, and it just became gave us height. So
Yes.
in my opinion, when you stand in a doorway and your eye needs to be told where to go, put something to the farthest corner, put something tall and attract your eye. If your eye travels all the way to the furthest part of the room that's across the room, give some drama. So what do you need to raise up? What do you need to put on some pedestals and get some drama? I have literally gone out and cut a tree branch down and lean it up against the corner, secure it in some way, put it in a basket that it's not even rooted in that basket or that bucket, but it's actually attached to the walls. But it gives such drama. And you would think, oh, this is going to come apart because it's just a little screw with some wire. No, it doesn't come apart. And you actually love it. You can put up lights. You can put some Christmas lights on that.
And then the detail pops out. Then it's the little things you start noticing more, because those are such big, clean lines all the way up to the ceiling.
Yeah. Here's another big, write this one down, okay? But you might have really great taste, and so you're afraid to go thrifting, or you're afraid to go on Marketplace because it's not your ideal couch, or it's not your ideal piece of art. You might have a real hard time deciding, do I get this piece that I think I would love, but then I'm scared I would hate it, and I've spent all this money on it, and I've waited all this time to wait to buy it. My style if you're scared, do the best you can. Use that as a placeholder and
Yes.
swap it out later.
Yes.
You're not stuck with something, and especially if you've paid really cheap money for it or it's been
Right.
free because somebody gave it to you. Great.
And I love your thinking on that because it shows that there's a place for it, but then you can just have in the back of your mind, you might be shopping 2 months later and find the perfect picture that you knew you wanted for that
Yeah.
space,
Yeah.
but at least you know where it goes then. And then all
Yeah.
you have to do is just change it out.
I like to take some wood, long pieces of wood, but I will take L brackets and screw them onto these long pieces of wood and then pop them. Sometimes I have used it across a window and made a little shelf. One of my clients collected little shot glasses. So this little piece of wood that spanned across a window in an apartment. So, we had that to
space.
deal with. But over top of a piece of furniture under the window had a lamp, and then I just utilized that window space. She could still open and close her blinds, but that little piece of shelving, that little piece of 1x2 wood on little bitty L brackets totally held all of those shot glasses, and it just becomes personalized. I had a client one time, she loved movies. We just did a Xerox, black and white Xerox of all of her favorite movies, the DVDs, and then covered a big old canvas, and it was beautiful. When in doubt, go one color. A lot of people will go white. They'll paint everything white. I like also black. Get a color wheel
Yes.
and see what is on each side of your color wheel. Either go side by side or go opposite of the color wheel. And you're always good if you're going opposites or side by side. So
Yeah.
you could take one room of your house and you could say, what can I do in this room that really changes my attitude? Maybe you've had a sectional and you want to break those pieces apart and all of a sudden give them to different rooms. Give the one, lazy boy part a break, and instead of the corner piece, put a table in there. Take the corner piece, put it in a bedroom, and now it's a place you sit and put your shoes on. Think things out of the box in different ways. One time we had a client that the coffee table, we needed a coffee table. We had a tabletop, but for the base, we took what was a Christmas tree.
Base of a
It
Christmas
covered
tree.
the and it was metal, and we took it, turned it upside down, and used that as a coffee table. We've just done so many fun things, and just a little paint, hang a picture in a bathroom that is too big, and it's gorgeous. One of my other favorite tips for a wall treatment is going to be these big bamboo roll shades. So sometimes in a thrift store, you'll see where somebody's thrown away a big roll shade, and I have a lot of times hung that all the way to the ceiling, and that becomes a focal point. Then I put a really great piece of art over that, and now I've got layers. I don't have to put grass cloth wallpaper down. I actually put a bamboo roll shade. Either this is like a main tip. Either go with one color palette and stay monochromatic, and then you can go eclectic with all different decades and different types of furniture and furnishings within a color palette. Or you can stay with you can go very eclectic with your colors and stay within a mid-century modern or a French country, or stay period perfect, but then your colors can vary. That's interesting. Chances are, just like with decorating like putting on a cute outfit, decorating your room a lot of times people freak out, they get in their head and they bail before they've gone far enough. So it's all about the layers. Think about the prime real estate of your room, your house, but what room are you going to focus on? And I always like to focus on the first room you walk into when you get into your house. You can do your bedroom later, but do the first room and get yourself.
It's the first thing you see. It's the first thing anyone else sees too. So if you feel good about that, then you can go from different areas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed this show. It's been fun, hasn't it?
So fun.
We believe that for $500, you can have a whole new room layering.
We can't wait to see the pictures.
I know.
Send in your pictures to us. Tag us. We would love to see what you're doing with your space.
And if you've got a project that you would like some advice on, we would love to know what your challenges are. And we just think this is fun. Again, we're not professionals, but we're just your girlfriends. So take it from a couple of friends who've got a confidence to spare. You can do this, right?
That's right.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.